We have a chilly night ahead. Still a bit of a gusty wind. We're heading about 36 in the city, low 30s to mid 30s along the coast, and Louis some upper 20s to about 30-degree weather. Northern western suburbs mainly clear sky. Morning sun gives into clouds tomorrow, mid to some upper 40s. Maybe just a little bit of rain tomorrow night into the early part of Wednesday, but definitely chilly temperatures ahead.
Thank you.
Well, now to a big surprise for an unlucky cat. Her apartment complex decided to use a drone to power wash all the windows.
And of course, curiosity got the best of the cat.
Is that? What is that, Pretzel?
Pretzel, as you saw there, was not a big fan of the window washing. The animal could be seen leaping into the air before taking off. Aside from the scare, Pretzel was okay. Oh, 9 lives.
I'm
pretty,
okay. In shock that the power washing is coming from a drone.
I know, that's
pretty
new.
cool. All right.
Yeah. All right, that does it for us tonight. We'll see you at 10.
Have a safe night. Extra starts right now.
And good evening, everybody, on this Monday, November the 17th. We hope you had a great weekend, and we hope you had a very calm and easy Monday as Mondays go. There is certainly a lot going on here in the newsroom. Thanks for joining us on Newsroom Live. I am your host tonight, Teresa Priolo, and we have a lot to get to. First, before we show you the president speaking at a summit live, we're going to just go through some of the headlines that have been making news throughout our newscasts all day long. We're going to start in Newark, New Jersey. We have some video to show you there, some surveillance video of 5 people shot in Newark, New Jersey over the weekend. 2 are dead, including a 10-year-old, as well as a 21-year-old. We have a live report on this coming up from our Kendall Green in just a little bit. Another shooting to occur on this side of the Hudson in New York City. NYPD releasing video of Jets cornerback Chris Boyd being shot. They say the shooting happened early Sunday morning on West 38th Street between 7th Avenue and Broadway. We are told that an argument preceded this shooting, that the gunman fired 2 shots, one of which struck Boyd. We're going to have more on that as well coming up. In the Bronx today, Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani was at basically what appears to be a homeless shelter or food pantry, and he was delivering food to those who need it most. This is Parts of the Solution in Bedford Park, also known as POTS, a nonprofit offering everything from daily hot lunch to hot showers, haircuts, whatever is needed. He is there because the mayor-elect says he wants the city to do a better job of partnering with agencies that help people when and where they need them most. The governor today talking about the need for heating assistance statewide. $4 billion is given out in the federal government's heating assistance program. $400 million of that comes to New York. She is urging the Trump administration to release those funds. They were held up as part of the government shutdown. And lastly, before we get to the president speaking at the McDonald's summit, we want to talk about the FAA lifting flight restrictions finally. If you listen closely, you can hear the cheers. Yeah, finally, we are expecting things to eventually get back to normal. Oh, wow. Brian Kay with the sound effects. We love it. Yes. Okay. So because he has lifted, because the shutdown is over, the flight restrictions can be lifted. We're going to talk about that a little bit more coming up, as well as everybody gets back to work and you get back to flying without the fear of anything going wrong and without missing your flight. The president's dancing, so let's go to him. He was doing a little bit of the shake, the Trump shake. Now he's clapping and pointing. So let's just check in to see if he has anything exciting to say at the McDonald's summit. Fine. He did a little shake and left. Dare I ask Sharon Crowley to come in and try her hand at the boop, boop, boop?
I don't have it down. I don't have the YMCA, although I did many years ago lose my purse doing the M, doing the YMCA.
Oh, no.
Yes, I was.
Is that a story that's appropriate for Newsroom Live?
It probably is. Just feel free to, send us a comment or a question if you'd like to know the full answer about that. I did have to go back and get my driver's license the next day. That's all I'll say about that evening. Many
the
years
best stories
ago.
end with losing your driver's
Atlanta,
license.
Georgia. That's right.
Okay.
Listen, I know you want to know what the president was talking about. He's talking about his affordability agenda. There's a lot of pressure, as you know, on Republicans.
Right.
The prices are not coming down as fast as the Trump administration would like. They blame it, of course, a little bit on the past administration, but the Trump tonight was saying, talking to small businesses, talking to the McDonald's economic summit there, and trying to outline that the tariffs will eventually, starting maybe the middle of next year, really start to feel the impact of his policies. So we'll see about that. But
this has been a big deal for him, though. He ran on affordability.
Yes.
He said he was going to lower the price of things. He said that the economy was going to boom, and so people are waiting for all of those prices to come down. And often in bad economies or struggling economies, people turn to fast food as a way to make ends meet.
Yes, that's right. And of course, we can't talk to you about this story without showing you that famous video during the campaign. There it is.
With
President
his famous
Trump,
red tie.
Candidate Trump with his red tie, serving some very unsuspecting motorists at a McDonald's, and even learning how to use the fryer. And tonight he actually talked about that. We don't have the sound for you, but I can paraphrase. He basically said the guy that operated the fry machine, he learned how to, twist his arm correctly.
The flick of the wrist?
Yeah, it's all in the wrist. And he said it was more complicated than he expected. And of course, I'm sure he shocked the people in line.
Can you imagine?
No.
I mean, look, we know that the president likes fast food. He
Yes,
has
yes.
made no bones about that.
That's right.
So do you think he snuck a fryer too?
I'm going to say absolutely. And I will also say that tonight he said that RFKJ, who probably the Health and Human Services Secretary,
Who does not like fried food?
knew, but he convinced him to eat a Big Mac, and I think it was a hit. So hard to say.
I mean, you can't go wrong with a Big Mac, to be totally honest.
Well, I think the fries are the magic,
Yeah.
I will say. So I have other things to talk about,
So,
though.
because the president was very busy today.
Yes.
That the McDonald's conference and talking about affordability
Yep.
was one thing. This is him in the Oval. He did talk about there. We're going to get to everything he said in the Oval
Yep.
earlier, but he was also talking about, this was one of the hallmark things on his agenda today, FIFA World Cup. I mean, we're 200 days away?
Yeah, and I'm going to still, Teresa, I know you have future three little, welcome back from maternity leave as well.
Thank
Three
you.
little
Happy to be here.
potential soccer players at home, a girl and two boys. I'm only calling it soccer so we don't mix things up here in the
does
U.S.
get very
and you think
confusing.
I'm talking about football when I'm not talking about the Jets. I'm talking about actual soccer.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
both of which I have limited knowledge of, but I will share with you what
Which
I know.
makes you the perfect person to do this.
Correct. President Trump says Teresa, that procedures are being put in place to help soccer fans from all over the world come to the U.S. for the 2026 FIFA World Cup this summer. And basically, fans from everywhere are being encouraged to apply early for a visa. President Trump met with FIFA's president in the Oval Office today, and they say the visas have been sped up. If you have tickets to come to a World Cup game, you will be able to get a special visa. It'll take you about 2 months, though, to get it. And you can see Marco Rubio is there and Department of Homeland Security there as well. They're trying to fast track these temporary visas so that people can come here and enjoy the games. And I'm going to just let you listen to President Trump's talking about that. Brian, our operator, working on that sound for us.
It's going to create nearly 200,000 jobs for America. Since the creation of the White House FIFA Task Force earlier this year, Secretary Rubio's team at the State Department has worked tirelessly with the Department of Homeland Security to ensure that soccer fans from all around the world are properly vetted and able to come to the United States next summer easily.
So one other thing, Teresa, I wanted to point out is that Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani, we've already talked about, you probably will be talking about the fact that he and the president are going to be meeting, and likely in Washington, D.C., but the mayor-elect is also an avid soccer fan. So even after he won the primary, he said he wants to appoint a World Cup czar so that you live in New Jersey, the games are going to be held at MetLife Stadium, but Zoran Mamdani, our future mayor, does not want New York City to miss out.
Right,
so he's going to make sure that some of that cash flow comes right here to New York City during that event.
The president alluded to this, but it really is expected to be an economic boom for this area.
Yes,
it doesn't matter
yes.
what side of the Hudson you're on. And especially as we were talking earlier, that area around MetLife, I mean, when people think of MetLife.
It's densely populated.
Yeah, and when people think of MetLife, they just think of the stadium, but you have American Dream there. You have so many smaller towns like Moonachie or Rutherford. There's diners, there's restaurants. These places have been there forever and ever, and they are going to be inundated with fans from all over the world.
Yeah,
and it's a multicultural area as well.
It is, and it's also, it's almost like having the Super Bowl, but better because it's longer. It's going on for a longer amount of time. It's not just one night and a few lead-up things and afterwards. So it's going to be very exciting, and Fox 5 is your home if you want to watch it.
Cue the music, Ryan.
Cue the music. Let's look at that.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I'll do the music. Dun, 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 dun.
No music?
Dun,
No
dun, dun,
music.
dun, dun.
All right. Well,
Either way, just take our word for it. We are the home of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
And we have a new show coming out, too.
If I'm not mistaken, we are the finals, right? Yeah. In Meadowlands.
Thank you, Moses, in the newsroom.
See, it's a group effort, but we get it done.
It's a group effort because I am not your sports reporter this evening. I did have some facts somewhere in here, though.
16 locations have been chosen.
And 11 in the U.S.
Yes, and again, I mean, it speaks to why the president needs to have the Secretary of State expedite those visas. I mean, the World Cup doesn't, we can fill it with our own people, but the World Cup isn't really what it is without people from other countries coming to these host sites and cheering for their own team. You know what I like about it? At least you know around here who everybody's going to vote for, which is going to be America.
That's right.
It's not like Giants, Jets, this,
I feel
that.
strongly it's time for unification and pride in our country. And, you know, perhaps with all these divisions, you know what I'm going to be watching very closely for is that meeting with Mamdani and President Trump. And the president said as much today that he's inviting the mayor-elect to Washington, D.C. And maybe this area, you know how they say sports brings people together?
Yeah.
They're both football, soccer fans, if you will. And maybe this is going to connect them. They have some common ground.
Yeah, it would be nice, right?
You know, there was a lot of darts thrown during the campaign, during Mamdani's campaign for Washington, D.C.
During Mamdani's victory speech.
Heard his victory speech right back at Trump, and a lot of threats about withholding federal funding. So maybe we can bury the hatchet right here on Live Now.
We will leave that to you to facilitate. Sharon Crowley,
do.
the one and only, nobody better. Thank you. We appreciate it.
All right, I'm going to let you get on with your show.
Thank you.
Oh,
what's
how
this?
lovely.
Wait, you get fed on Newsroom Live?
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
What are these?
I don't know.
All right, well.
I think we should feed our operator.
Yeah,
here.
right,
Oh, yeah,
exactly.
And we have backwards camera, too.
All right, I'm going to do what I need to do. You guys eat.
All right.
Okay,
Okay,
fine.
all right,
I'm
all
going to
right,
take this and use. Sharon, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, it is 7:15. Why don't we do weather before we take a quick break? Can we bring in Nick? Can you come join me over here? Are you hungry?
I'm always hungry.
Good. Come on
good.
over.
Here we
I don't
go.
know what
I'm
we're
gonna give
eating, but
Mike
come on over.
I'm going to mic you up or
We're gonna
hand the
switch
mic to
around.
you. Going behind you.
Life-changing baked goods.
Jamie's like,
enough
oh,
room?
is that who they
Should I go in
interviewed on the
front?
6 o'clock show? That's really
this
awesome.
in front,
She
maybe?
had quite a story. Yep, come on over. We're going to talk about the weather, Nick, when you get all situated. We'll also give you time to
just
eat
gotta
afterwards.
Make sure you got Max Links 1.
right.
Yep.
That's it.
Thank you, Sharon. We
That's the
appreciate
one.
it.
Anytime.
While you're getting mic'd up, the wind this weekend was
whipping.
intense.
Tell me about it.
I got caught in it a couple of times.
Caused me to be 2.5 hours late getting home yesterday.
Were you flying or were you driving?
Flying
oh,
from
okay.
Florida. They had LaGuardia was only using one runway because of the high wind, so they couldn't use simultaneous operations. So
Wow.
everything was getting extremely delayed.
So when you fly, because you are a pilot, not only are you a pilot, but you are an instructor. Are you
Yes.
constantly questioning everything the entire time?
Not questioning, but observing.
Is it like a doctor getting a procedure or a nurse?
I'm observing.
Yes.
Maybe not necessarily questioning, but
Do you
I'm
try to
observing.
sit with a view of the cockpit, and if the door opens, you look over and see if anything's lighting up?
Yeah, if I can. I like sitting more by the window.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
I look
yeah.
outside, right?
But I have a different reason for sitting out the window. I like it because I can put my head on, on the window and fall asleep and zonk out. You probably like to look out the window.
For a little while, and then I zonk out too.
Yeah, good. Then you and I would be good to sit together, right? We'd be completely asleep. All right, so let's talk about the forecast. What about that wind? Are we going to continue to see that through the next
So
few
it'll
days?
be gusty tonight. It'll back off tomorrow, but it's not quite as strong tonight as it was during the day. You know, we had gusts 45 miles an hour during the day. Like yesterday was even crazier.
Yeah.
So right now we're seeing gusts in the 25 to 35 mile per hour range, approximately, something like that. So it's probably still going to be gusted like 30 most of the night, but it's also going to be cold. I mean, look at the lows overnight.
Yeah.
It's upper 20s, lower 30s in the northern suburbs, about 35 or 6 in the city, and low to mid 30s along the coast, and just a few scattered clouds. But a little breeze is going to keep those wind chills, in the upper 20s, mid to upper 20s in many spots. So that's something to keep in mind. And tomorrow we're going to start out with some sunshine, but it's going to give in to the clouds, and the result will be another cool day. The average high, should be about 54.
I was going to ask you if this is normal.
No, we're below. Yeah, we're below. Today we're 10 degrees below average. Tomorrow, 7 degrees below average, and may stay only in the mid 40s, north and west. Even Monticello, they're only at 38. But again, sun goes into clouds. Little storm center is going to move south of us tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. It might just give a little bit of rain tomorrow night into the early part of Wednesday, particularly New York City on southward. I think the northern suburbs don't have much to worry about. But it's a cool couple of days. 47 Wednesday, sun and clouds combined Thursday at 48. Do have a chance of rain, but we get back to mid-50s on Friday, and that rain threat lasts into probably the first part of Saturday morning. And then we'll stay around 50, which is, again, closer where it should be for Sunday and Monday. Right now it's pretty cold out there, though. Chilly anyway. It's in the low 40s, most spots. 40 down by the shore out to the east end and up towards the mid-Hudson Valley there, and some 30s appearing as well. Here's the wind. Yeah, it's 10 to 20 sustained.
It's whipping in Newark, though.
Yeah. These are the sustained speeds, right? So but you're going to see the gusts that are going to pop up on the next graphic here, and those gusts are still getting 25 to 30. So you're gusting 25 White Plains, 29 at Islip. So you put that in combination with those temperatures, and you're going to see that the wind chill numbers are kind of on the cooler side. I mean, we've had worse. Wait till January comes.
We have, but
still, this is chilly. It's upper 20s to the low and middle 30s is how it feels if you're outside right now.
You guys in the Weather Center always talk about the real feel.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, we call it the wind chill factor.
Wind chill is real. Okay. So
same thing.
Interchangeable. Mm-hmm. And then it's looked like we were trending toward a little bit warmer as we head into Thanksgiving. Is it too far?
A little too
far away to look out?
Yeah, I mean, some of the computer models are doing exactly that, though. They're forecasting a bit of a warming trend. As we get to the early to middle part of next week, we'll see if that holds
It's funny.
true.
I always assume that Thanksgiving is either going to be bitterly cold or raining. But I was looking through my phone for a picture recently, and I remember, I want to say it was like a decade ago, we had an unusually warm
one.
Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Like 2013-ish, 2014-ish, and I'm like, we could bring that back again.
Well, and then of course we've also had 5.5 inches of snow.
Yeah, well,
on
we
Thanksgiving
don't have to bring
Day
that
too.
back
So
again. Well,
that could happen
growing up though, the weekend after Thanksgiving was the weekend we started skiing.
Right.
We would go up to the Berkshires, and that was our weekend. That was the first weekend to ski, but it doesn't seem like that happens anymore.
Yeah, it still does. I mean, the snowmaking has gotten really well, really good for some of these resorts. So it's got to be really cold now, so they can start making the snow. Particularly, maybe not so much of the closer in resorts.
Yeah, maybe
the
your
ones
Vermont.
further upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, those
When
areas.
do you start your ski forecast?
So we'll start usually after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Somewhere around there, because again, that's when people start looking to go and start to ski. And I think, by the way, winter is going to come on pretty strong in December.
Yeah, I
so-
saw that too. I actually saw one of our Instagram posts about that.
Yes.
And I was hoping we were off by that one.
Well, we'll see. It hasn't happened yet. It's just a forecast. But
What makes you think that, though?
a couple of things, and things we're going to be talking about, by the way, soon coming up is going to be our Weather Extremes program.
Oh, yes, yes.
Which you will be able to see next week, I believe.
Yeah,
Usually we're on the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. So I'll talk a lot more about it then. Get you to watch. But the pattern's starting to look like something's going to happen as far as the polar vortex situation, which we talk about a lot.
Yep.
So when the polar vortex gets fractured, it breaks off into waves. Usually one of those waves dips down along the East Coast.
Got it.
And that's how the Arctic air comes right down along the East Coast. So there's signs that might be happening as we head into the early part of December. So be on your guard. We'll talk a little bit about it more in our Weather Extremes program. But I think that my feeling is that winter comes on pretty strong in December into the early part of January. Then we probably get a little break for a while. And then by middle of February it comes in again for a little while, and then by the end of March, early March, it'll
Yeah, okay, I'll let you go after this, but my last question for you is, if it comes on strong in the beginning, does that mean it peters out quick and we get to the warmer, nice spring
sometimes,
weather?
sometimes that happens, when winter comes in early in December, and then it just kind of, what happens?
Yeah.
So we've
fizzles
had
out.
that. And this winter is going to be kind of similar to last winter because of the weak La Nina that we'll also talk about on the program. And last year we had 13 inches of snow in Central Park. So that's below our average of 25 to 30.
All right, so
we'll
25
see.
to 30 is the number to hit.
For average. I think we're going to be below average again this year, though.
Okay.
So we'll see.
This is the one time when we want to be below average.
Right.
Nikki, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank
We'll let you
you.
go have some dinner. You've been
All
working
right.
hard. We appreciate it.
Sure.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this. Stay with us here on Newsroom Live. And hello, everybody. Welcome back to Newsroom Live. You can see me on the backwards cam. We got to find a name for that one. I don't know. Backwards cam. Backham. Backham. Sounds like backham. I am your host on this Monday evening, Teresa Priola. Let's take a live look at the vessel now, where they had their, what I believe they're calling their first annual tree lighting ceremony, and there were lots and lots of people out there tonight. Our Duarte Giardino handled that for our earlier newscast as well. And let's also take a look, if we can, at 6th Avenue, which is always bustling. But I love this because it just sets us up great for the holidays. Radio City. Sharon told me that she went to the Radio City Christmas Spectacular, and it was fantastic. So that's already jumped off.
Spectacular?
It's spectacular. It's everything you want and more. High kicks and everything. As well, there's also now the Christmas tree that is lit on the Fox News Corp campus as well. So lots going on this Monday. We have a live interview coming up with David Birdsell. He is going to be talking to us about all things politics. But first, we've got some comments in the chat. If you want to engage with us, please, we would love to hear from you. You can comment not only on our YouTube page. We'll read your comments live here on Newsroom Live. You can also send them to us by way of social media, my social, as well, but this is the best way because we can read these right on air. David Horse 800, hi. Teresa from LA, hello, David. How's the weather looking out there? If Nick was still here, we would have asked him because he's got some family out there. Saying hi to Sharon as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. We've got one from Nelsie Batista saying that they always watch this news. Favorite, born, raised in Astoria, lives in Connecticut, and tuning in with us tonight. We really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. We are trying to get to some of our headlines early on in this hour. We had Sharon talking about the FIFA World Cup and the president's announcement as well, but there's so much going on. So we're going to start to bring in David Birdsell, who is provost at Keene University. He knows all things politics. There is not a question I can ask you that I can't even stump you if I wanted to. I can't even think of a question that could stump you. But you are our go-to for all things politics always because you have just such an incredible knowledge. So let's first start off by talking about Epstein. I'm going to play some sound in a minute, but to set the stage for those who are not following the news today, the president is calling on House Republicans to vote to release the Epstein files. He is insisting that Republicans and he himself have nothing to hide, and he is accusing Democrats of using this as just a distraction. Picture of Epstein on your screen right now. He said that the House Republicans should vote in favor of releasing the documents, and he described this controversy as a Democratic hoax. We do have some sound of the president speaking about this in the Oval today, so I'm going to ask Brian Kay to roll that.
Can I clarify something you posted on Truth Social last night? You urged House Republicans to vote in favor of this Epstein release bill they're going to vote on tomorrow. I just want to be super clear on your position. Do you want to see that pass the Senate? Would you sign that bill if it gets to your desk?
I do want to. Here's what I want. We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats. You look at this Reid Hoffman. You look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton. They went to his island all the time, and many others. They're all Democrats. All I want for people to recognize the great job that I've done on pricing, on affordability, because we brought prices way down, but they're going way lower, on energy, on ending 8 wars and another one coming pretty soon, I believe. We've done a great job. And I hate to see that deflect from the great job we've done. So I'm all for it. You know, we've already given 50,000 pages. You do know that. Unfortunately, like with the Kennedy situation, with the Martin Luther King situation, not to put Jeffrey Epstein in the same category, but no matter what we give, it's never enough. You know, with Kennedy, we gave everything, and it wasn't enough. With Martin Luther King, we gave everything, and it's never enough. We've already given, I believe the number is 50,000 pages. 50,000 pages. And it's just a Russia hoax as it pertains to the Republicans. Now, I believe that many of the people some of the people that we mentioned are being looked at very seriously for their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, but they were with him all the time. I wasn't at all. And we'll see what happens. What I just don't want Epstein to do is detract from the great success of the Republican Party, including the fact that the Democrats are totally blamed for the shutdown. You know, they cost our country hundreds of billions of dollars with that, at a lot of inconvenience. So I'm for I don't. They can do whatever they want. We'll give them everything. Sure, I would. Let the Senate look at it. Let anybody look at it. But don't talk about it too much, because honestly, I don't want to take it away from us. It's really a Democrat problem. The Democrats were Epstein's friends, all of them. And it's a hoax. The whole thing is a hoax. And I don't want to take it away from really the greatness of what the Republican Party has accomplished over the last period of time. Yeah.
All right, so let's bring in David. David, there are some who believe this is a public relations issue. There are others who believe this is a real political problem, not only for the president, but also for Republicans. Where do you stand on this? And what is your take on him now urging House Republicans to release those files?
Well, the president clearly saw the writing on the wall. The American people want these files released. Many members of his own base want them released. Remember that he campaigned on the idea of releasing the Epstein files. This was one of his themes. And once he got into office, he reversed course sharply and said that there was nothing to see here. Remember Pam Bondi's testimony last February, suggesting that there was quite a lot to see, but then she reversed course as well. So this actually stoked a good deal of dissension in some of the hitherto fiercest, most fiercely loyal segments of the MAGA base, and that just metastasized over the course of the summertime and into the fall. So it really, particularly with the seating of the new representative Grijalva from Arizona, it became impossible to stand against the flood, and they didn't want to make this seem like a couple of Republicans. I'm thinking of Nancy Mace and Lauren Boebert, previously very reliable MAGA votes, voting to open this up and send it to the Senate. But now the floodgates are open, and it looks like the Senate is likely to pass a motion to disclose all the Epstein files as well.
There's so much going on in everybody's personal lives, but as people weren't watching or weren't following the news last week, there were emails that were given as part of Epstein's estate to House Democrats, yes? And these emails specifically mention he was not president at the time, but Trump by name. Now, they were not to the president. They were not from the president. He was a mention inside of these emails. They did not say that he did anything wrong. They did not say that he was with anyone underage, but his name is mentioned repeatedly. And so there is the question, what is the connection? What truly is the connection between the president and Epstein, who is the biggest pedophile that we really have ever seen?
Absolutely. That's the question that's open. And one of the things that those emails suggested does not, exactly as you said, Teresa, it does not accuse the president of having participated in any untoward behavior with the young women that Jeffrey Epstein abused, but it does strongly suggest that he knew about it and makes reference to his spending hours with one of the victims, presumably talking about those situations, or at least theoretically, hypothetically talking about those situations. So there's a lot that remains to be clarified. There will be questions for the president. Whether he will choose to answer those or not is very much in doubt. And remember, too, that there's also the little matter of Ghislaine Maxwell languishing right now in a relatively cushy minimum security prison in Texas, where she has allegedly been receiving quite favorable treatment in contrast to some of her fellow inmates. And that is a potential source of testimony down the line that I believe lots of people in the Trump administration would like to forestall.
Why? Because there is also some talk and some concern that she is going to ask for a pardon, or she would solicit a pardon from the president and his team?
Well, that has been floated as a possibility. The president has not commented on that. Clearly, it was the administration that moved her from a more severe stretch of prison time to this relatively cushier stretch of minimum security time. The Committee Chair Comer has said that he is very much opposed. Many members of Congress have stepped up and said they are very much opposed to a pardon, but that is at least part of the scenario, and that would deepen some questions that some people have about the president's relationship to all of this. But that would almost certainly follow on the release of further documentation, and what that documentation has in it is really going to drive this inquiry for the next few weeks.
What I can't seem to wrap my head around, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, is that the president or others that's names are mentioned in these emails, and where there is even just a loose association with Jeffrey Epstein, know what their association is. So why would one party or one person be, even if it's just as a campaign promise, be pushing to release these documents if it is so damning to you? And then that sets you up for the back and forth. I mean, why would anybody push for that, thinking, because there's a potential that it could happen, and now here we go.
A lot of this is very hard to explain. One way to explain that is exactly where you just went, that they didn't think it was plausible that it would ever be released, that they would stay under wraps forever, perhaps that they weren't available, really unclear. And it wasn't clear, I believe, until this administration took office on January 20th and in the weeks that followed, that they understood exactly how extensive these files were. I believe there was also some expectation that this would be more damaging to Democrats, and particularly to Bill Clinton and the Clinton family overall. That, at least as much as we know right now, turns out not to be the case. And again, the president whose name appears well prior to his being president of the United States in these records is Donald Trump, with Jeffrey Epstein musing with friends and supporters about what the president's reaction might be should he be elected to office.
We saw the fracture between Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, she has been on something of her own press tour recently, and winning over people who were not fans of MTG, and now they're starting to say, well, maybe we can find some common ground here. And the reverse is happening between the president and one of his most ardent supporters, which is now they are apparently not fans of each other. But to your point earlier, there was a meeting last week as we understand it, in the Situation Room between Lauren Boebert and others attempting to get their names removed from the memo asking for a release of these documents. So it's definitely impacting the base, that we know.
It is absolutely impacting the base. It is absolutely a wedge issue in MAGA. The president's support for the release of the documentation may go some way to addressing that fracture. But if the documentation that is released shows a tighter relationship between the president, makes more clear than the materials released so far do, to show that he knew what was going on. That's one of the questions. And one of the questions is behavior. Was he involved in any way? So far, there's no indication that that is the case. But if you knew about it and did nothing to stop it, including during your first term as president, including having all of the tools of the Justice Department at your disposal to take action, why did that not happen? And that's going to be the next wave, I suspect, of questions, not only from Democrats who are opposed to this administration, but from loyalists in the MAGA movement who were very, very concerned about this and have been for years.
So moving on to other news, because it wasn't the only thing that happened today,
Indeed.
as it never is. One of the big headlines this morning was what is happening off the coast of Venezuela, and the U.S. moving cargo ships, aircraft carriers, and other ships along the coast, potentially positioning themselves for some sort of military action. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro was seen chanting peace, peace, peace. But Trump has been saying that the war on drugs is at such a state and such an inflection point that the U.S. needs to act. So what do you make of this show of force? I mean, is this just just U.S. puffing out their chest, or is there a real potential here for us to get embroiled in another conflict?
Well, we really don't know what the end game is here, but there is certainly the potential for armed conflict. There are tremendous assets in the Southern Caribbean at this point, including many, many destroyers, including the aircraft carrier group that you referred to, 15,000 troops. And you don't do that just to intercept a couple of speedboats that you believe to be carrying fentanyl or other drugs across that body of water. So what are they there to do? That's a very large force. It's probably not a large enough force to invade and occupy Venezuela. There have been discussions, not from the president, but from people around him, of regime change. This is an extraordinary moment. And it's doubly extraordinary because we know that the greatest source of drugs into the United States is not Venezuela. It's coming in from Mexico to a much greater extent. Now, I mean, there could be materials that are flowing up through the isthmus and into Mexico and then coming into the United States. But this is a curious choice of target if your real goal is to stop drug traffic into the USA.
One has to think about those soldiers that are on that carrier. I mean, as I understand it, they have been deployed since June, and they were anticipating coming home. And now there is the potential that they will not only miss the holidays with their families, but that they could be caught up in some sort of extended conflict that who knows when they, I mean, I do understand that there is the ability to switch them out, of course, right? That can happen. But you do have to think about this long term, what it means for not only our positioning in the region, but also for the people that we have on that ship.
Oh, absolutely. And, if we think back to the last time that we employed force in the hemisphere at anything remotely resembling the scale in the Panamanian actions under the George H.W. Bush administration, it's a major moment for relations in the hemisphere. It resets the deck for the Organization of American States and all of our allies in the region. And it creates a new narrative about American hegemony in a region of the world that has had an off-and-on relationship with what is often referred to as the giant of the North when you're thinking about that from the Southern perspectives on U.S. power. Is the Trump administration trying to assert effectively control of the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean, or is this a very targeted action that is specific to Venezuela? I really don't think at this stage that we have the answers to those questions.
Moving on to something closer to home, which happens to be the president reaching out or making inroads with the mayor-elect here in New York City, Zohran Mamdani. The president signaled today that he is willing to meet with him, and this is something of a change of tone and a change of pace because it has, been stated that the two didn't care for each other, certainly don't care for each other's politics, but it appeared to also have a little personal touch there. But the mayor-elect said that that Mamdani would like to meet with the president, so they're attempting to work something out. I mean, we know what an economic engine New York City is. We understand not only what it means for the greater tri-state and the New York State and the tri-state, but also the country as a whole. But this is also the president's hometown. So what does some sort of relationship between the mayor of this city, even if they don't agree on politics, and the president do for the residents here?
Well, let's be very clear that New York City, like all large localities in the United States, relies vitally on the federal government to fund many of the initiatives that are important to the everyday lives of New Yorkers. We found out a lot about that during the shutdown when SNAP benefits disappeared and many hundreds of thousands of families in the Empire State went hungry, tens of thousands in the city. So there's that sort of individual level benefit. But think too about the transportation infrastructure. Think about the Gateway Access Tunnel, which is important to sustain Amtrak and freight traffic under the Hudson going forward, replacing 125-year-old tunnels that exist today and are well past their sell-by date. Think about the Second Avenue subway, also previously funded by federal money. Now, both of those projects were withdrawn from the federal budget allocation during the shutdown period, but argued not just because of the shutdown, but that was punishment for New York City and an effort to try to undo what the president referred to as Democrat policies. That clearly affects a lot of Republicans too. And as you just pointed out, it speaks to the quality and vibrancy of the regional economy and indeed the national economy overall. I mean, this is a big chunk of spending, a little bit shy of 10% of all of the GDP produced in this country. So very, very big issues, and something that behooves the mayor to have a good relationship with the president, whether that's possible given the policy differences between them and the negative personal words that have been used on both sides. That remains to be seen. I think it's a very positive step, however, that both gentlemen are willing to meet to talk it out.
Yeah, and look, we need the president to help us out, as you have rightly pointed out. And it seems as if, at least from listening to Mayor Adams and others, that once you get in the room with the president, that he seems to be willing to hear the concerns. And so one of the things that we often heard during this election with Mamdani was his quote unquote lack of experience. The fact that he hadn't held a number of elected jobs. The fact that he is so young. And so it would be interesting. I wish I could be a fly on the wall because I want to see what this meeting is like, what common ground they find, how it starts, how it ends, who gets heated first, do they get heated, or maybe there's a lot of things that they agree on, frankly, that would really benefit this city, that it just doesn't make for good headlines, good media attention, good fodder for a cocktail party.
No, that's absolutely right. And one of the things I'm going to be looking for here, Teresa, is to try to figure out what kind of a meeting this is. Is it largely a photo op? Are they sitting together with the cameras rolling for the entirety of their conversation? If we think about a very different leader in very different circumstances, just a few months ago, when Vladimir Zelensky had a very difficult interview with the president. This was back early last spring, toward the end of the winter, when he was upbraided by the president and by the vice president for not wearing proper clothing. He was his calls for assistance were rejected. He was called ungrateful, and there never was a private meeting. It was all the photo op. If that's the case here, I suspect we'll see similar kinds of fireworks. If there's actually a meeting that precedes a photo op, you have the opportunity to actually get some things done, and we'll see if there is common ground that can be found between this very left mayor and this very right president.
We know what the benefit is to New York City for getting the president on our side. What is the benefit to the president for getting Mamdani on his side?
Several possible things. First is just the background conditions of the economy. As we've said over the last few minutes, New York is an extraordinarily important cornerstone of the economy in this country, and particularly important, of course, for the finance industry. So there's making sure that the city works in areas that are vital for American economic competitiveness. Beyond that, one of the things that Zohran Mamdani, whatever you think of his policies, has successfully done is to center this question of affordability. And now upwards of 62% of Americans overall, not owing solely to Zohran Mamdani and what he's done, but he really gets some credit, I think, for putting this on the agenda in such a clear and consistent way. And it's really caught fire across the United States. Of course, very much buttressed by the continuing increases in the price of goods, very much buttressed by the continuing cost of rent and housing support that goes up across the board. We could go on, but the president now has an opportunity to make common cause with a man whose name speaks to affordability issues. And if he can present alternatives that are in turn endorsed by a Zohran Mamdani, then it actually creates the notion that the president is making headway on economic issues that even his own base right now is distressed that he may be losing sight of. He needs a course correction. Maybe this is part of it.
All right, David. You have done the heavy lifting tonight. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for breaking it all down for us. As the days go on, we know that the topics will continue as well. So we'll be touching base with you. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Always a pleasure.
All right, and we're going to take a quick break. You are watching Newsroom Live on this Monday, November the 17th. We will be back in just a few minutes. Stay with us. And good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Newsroom Live on this Monday, November the 17th. As I understand it, we got a little spin coming around. There we go. Look at you with the tricks, Brian K. Very, very nice. We appreciate it. He's here running the big board for us. Brian, put your hand up so everybody. Oh, there you go. Wait. Oh, hey, there he is. And Jonah's over here, too. Hi. Jonah on my left, Brian on my right, keeping me afloat. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. All right, let's talk about some stories that are making headlines today. Did you hear this one about Novo Nordisk? Well, a lot of people are talking about it. The makers of Wegovy and Ozempic, drug maker Novo Nordisk plan to lower the price of the drug treatments to $349 a month for existing cash-paying patients. They're also offering a temporary new cash offer for $199 a month. This is a very big change. As I understand it, the average price that most people are paying a month is about $500. The company says that this change follows the Trump administration's initiatives to lower drug prices. The new drug pricing is going to be available at pharmacies nationwide. So again, a very big deal here, and one that a lot of people had been hoping for when the Trump administration announced that they were looking to lower drug prices. All right, that's that one. The one that has me going tonight, which is literally the exact opposite of weight loss medication, happens to be the pasta tariff story. Have you been following this one? This is my kind of story. There is a threat of a 107% tariff on Italian pasta, and rightfully so. Business owners are worried. The Department of Commerce undergoing an anti-dumping review of Italian pasta. It claims the product is being sold at below market prices. This means an additional 92% tariff might be slapped onto the existing 15% tariff that the Trump administration has already levied. People are saying that this really could hurt smaller pasta producers. So we'll see if it actually happens, the 107% tariff on pasta. Some are saying that they'll start out at 100, maybe settle someplace else. But they really think that this is just incredibly far-fetched. When asked, though, if anybody is going to actually pay, Brian, what do you think they said?
Nope.
Wrong. Yep. Absolutely, because people love pasta, myself included. And, you know, the other comment that a lot of people have about this story is that it seems like it's such a small thing to pick on. Aren't there sort of bigger fish to fry in the whole tariff war than pasta? It's not a luxury food. It's not necessarily a high-priced food. But when you start to mess with the price of it, you know, people do get upset about it. They say that the total export is $75 billion. So $750 million is an important part of the export. The Commerce Department says only 16% of all Italian pasta imports might be affected by this tariff. They're going to make the final decision. The department is going to make the final decision on January the 2nd. But there is potential for that to be extended by some 50 days. So there is hope that your favorite Chico, Barillo, whatever it is, pasta might not skyrocket in price, but there's also a chance that it could happen. So, all right, moving on to, let's go to, are the cheetahs there?
Cheetahs are not there.
Cheetahs have walked away, so we're going to give them a minute to get back. Let's first go to the Dorito and Cheeto without dyes. Let's stay on the food because why not? Doritos and Cheetos have called a new line of chips Naked, NKD, right there. They're going to feature the same flavor profile while being, quote, completely colorless. Naked will be offered in Cool Ranch and Nacho Cheese flavors. They're also going to come in Puffs and Flaming Hot. This comes after PepsiCo announced back in October that it would begin phasing out artificial dyes on products like Cheetos and even Gatorade. How do you know the difference, though, between a Cool Ranch and a regular if it doesn't leave the cheesy residue?
We don't eat with our eyes or anything.
I know, right? Do you think, I mean, it has to have the same smell, right? How do you lick your fingers if there's no dye or cheese? I don't know. I don't get it. All right, so we'll be following that story. Maybe we should even do a taste test at some point. I know that the cheetahs aren't on the Smithsonian camera, but let's at least just take it so we can show you. Yes, this is a pile of hay, and that's what I want you to look at right now. This is a story that I think is really cute, and it's making some news today. So what is supposed to happen here are there supposed to be, I believe they are a litter, I think, a litter of cheetahs at the Smithsonian National Zoo. It has been closed to the public during the shutdown. And what happened during the shutdown? We got a litter of cheetah. And we have some VO to show you, I think. Do we have some VO to show you, Brian, of the cheetahs in action? We might?
No.
No? Okay, well, you know what? Let me have you close your eyes and imagine what a cheetah looks like. A mama cheetah, and then a bunch of baby cheetahs, and you have them all lined up right there, 1, 2, 3. They're walking in and out, and frankly, I don't know what we can do to get them back on cam. But yes, the government shut down. The zoo was closed because it is run as a part of the federal government. And so this cheetah birthed a whole litter of babies. And now that it is back open and the camera has turned back on, frankly, if you tune in the right time, you should be able to see them. On Saturday, November 15th, the Smithsonian National Zoo and Conservation Biology Institute announced that its 5-year-old adult female cheetah named Amabala welcomed a litter of 4 cheetah cubs over 2 days, October 17th and October 18th. I don't know if that makes them, Scorpios? I'm not really sure. The cub's father is Flash, who is an 8-year-old male who has 3 surviving cubs from a previous litter. The zoo is noting that the male cheetahs do not play a role in raising their young, which I have no comment on that. However, the cubs have set several special milestones, as the litter is the 20th litter born at this zoo and the 5th litter to be broadcast on the Cheetah Cam. It's a live camera feed where, as you can see, guests can tune in and watch them in their natural habitat. According to the person who runs this, the birth of Ambala's litter is particularly exciting because the species can be challenging due to breed due to the cheetah's difficulty to interpret behavior and the female's sporadic reproductive cycle. So this is a kind of a win-win all around. I also read today, which I thought was kind of interesting, guys, that the Ambala, the female cheetah, she was the first cheetah to ever be on the Cheetah Cam, and now her litter, her little cubs, are following in mama's footsteps. So that is a great thing to go and see with your kids if you are somebody who likes to go and visit the Metro DC area. We did that one year with our kids for spring break, and we saw the pandas because they were still there before they flew away. We saw the monkeys. We saw everything. It's really a fun time. So, all right, we wish our cheetahs well, and maybe if they come back on camera, we can show you that at some other point in our newscast. We're going to take another quick break. Stay with us here on Newsroom Live on this Monday, the 17th of November. When we come back, we're going to update your headlines and bring you the latest. Stay with us. All right, hi everybody, and good evening. Welcome back to Newsroom Live at 7:58 on this Monday, the 17th of November. Always happens in a newsroom, we are following some breaking news tonight. That is actually what's happening behind me up there on our assignment desk. They are working on the details, which you will see in full in our 10 p.m. broadcast on Fox 5. We also stream that online at fox5ny.com and on the Fox Local app. But here in Newsroom Live, I can also show you some video of what we are tracking. Brian, let's pull up that video from Roselle, New Jersey. This is a Union County, Roselle, New Jersey. You can see the smoke. Right in the middle of your screen.
Hate when
at least
cold like this.
2 structures on fire at this point. Ladders up. The entire street there covered with fire officials and EMS attempting to put that out. We are told that this at one point was a 4-alarm blaze, although well, from what we can see, at least from Skyfox overhead, it has died down a little bit. It does look like there are multiple engines on that property there.
Both sides.
On both sides, exactly. So obviously we see it coming from the side here, the one at the bottom of your screen. There was a ladder clearly up next to it where there is still smoke billowing from there. You can see the flames in that window right there. Can they see that, Brian? Yeah. So at the bottom of your screen, right above the word weather, there are flames coming from that window there, and there is a firefighter on that ladder. Attempting to either put that out or get someone out. We have not gotten any word of any injuries. We don't know who was home, how many families, and we haven't been able to see the front of these structures, so we don't exactly know what the configuration is. They do look like they are detached homes, and it looks as if they are possibly multifamily homes as well. But as we saw the way that Skyfox was showing that picture to us, there looked like there was 2 ladders from the front and 1 ladder from the back. So presumably that one in the middle is the main source of concern. But again, our news desk is working to ensure that we have the latest information for you there. I'm counting at least 3 ladders and a whole bunch of other rigs. And so again, we are gonna follow this story, and at some point we also might be able to have you hear from Skyfox what they're seeing up there. They've been following this for some time, so when that happens we will be sure to bring you that as well. It is 8 o'clock on this November the 17th, Monday, November the 17th. Thanks for watching Newsroom Live. I'm your host for the evening, Teresa Priolo, and we are following quite a number of stories that are of interest. Of course, there's that fire in Union County, New Jersey, but some other things that might pique your interest as well. Let's talk to you about the FAA flight restrictions being lifted. Finally, now that the longest government shutdown in U.S. history is over, things can start to resume at the airport. You'll remember last week, in the last couple of weeks, we talked about the fact that once the government shutdown was over, it wasn't just a flip of a switch. Things just don't go back to normal at the 40 airports around the country that were impacted by the government shutdown. They need to build back their schedule, ramp things as they taper down. They need to ramp up as well. But the president announced today that things should be completely back to normal soon, certainly in time for the holiday season. We know how busy it is to fly at certainly our area airports as we get to Thanksgiving and around the Thanksgiving holiday and through the Christmas and Hanukkah holidays as well through the new year. But another interesting story that the president talked about today having to do with flying, you might remember that there was a plan put in place under the Biden administration that would pay you for your flight being delayed. Yeah, that's gone, according to the president. He says that he has canceled the plan for flight delays. To just refresh your memory, airlines were supposed to pay passengers up to $300 for delays that occurred at least 3 hours or longer, up to $775 for delays that were at least 9 hours. The Department of Transportation says the proposals have been withdrawn because it would have caused, quote, unnecessary regulatory burdens. Currently, customers can receive funds for canceled flights, but no compensation for flight delays, which is really sort of interesting when you break that whole thing down, because a lot of people really use that to try to get, things moving on their specific flight, or they kind of use that to ensure that they can get to their destination. So 2 interesting flight stories there. We want to go to a story that is making news over the weekend in Newark, New Jersey. We have surveillance video to show you. Brian's going to pull it up right now for us, of a shooting that occurred in Newark, New Jersey. Let's listen in for just a second at this video. Brian, can we play that one more time? I mean, it's literally a shootout in the middle of the street. We have a live report from Kendall Green coming up in a little bit on that. But to fill you in, Saturday evening, 5 people were shot. 2 have died, including a 10-year-old named Jordan Garcia and a 21-year-old named Kiwa Scott. They were among the 5 people shot at the corner of Chancellor and Leslie in Newark. As you might imagine, the community there is outraged with the level of violence that occurred in Essex County, in Newark, on that Saturday. So we're going to talk to Kendall in just a little bit, and he'll be able to explain to us what is going on, what the mood is there, and what is being done to try to combat what was really just an incredibly violent weekend. Some information to tell you about in terms of heating assistance. The governor is asking the Trump administration to ensure that low-income New Yorkers who rely on HEAP, the HEAP program, the heating assistance program, that they get paid the money that they need in order to keep their electricity on. $4 billion is doled out annually. New York gets $400 million of that money. And so the governor is asking the Trump administration to no longer hold up those payments that have been in limbo since the shutdown has occurred, and instead to ensure that the money gets to where it needs to be and to those people who need it. Let's check in on that sound that we have from the governor.
Now, here's what's frustrating. In 2025, we had over 1 million homes sign up for this. That's great. But we know that there's 1.5 million more that are eligible for this who did not sign up. So I need everybody to help get the word out.
Executive producer Jeff just filling us in on some of the things that are going on here in the newsroom, because it is a very active newsroom here as we work to get you the latest information on that fire that is occurring in Roselle Park, New Jersey. All right, one more story to get to before we get to our reporter, Arthur Chan, who's going to talk to us about a Vision Zero initiative here in New York City. And that has to do with the Charlotte ice raids. You've likely seen this across not only your social feeds, but also it has been all over the news. Many communities in Charlotte, North Carolina, reeling after federal customs and border protection agents came through different neighborhoods, descended on the city. At least 81 people arrested, but that number is expected to grow. Federal agents were deployed by Homeland Security, and they're calling this Operation Charlotte's Web. This is just one instance where this man's window was broken of his truck. He was pulled out only to eventually tell them that he is, in fact, a U.S. citizen and has papers to prove it. We have some sound to listen to. Hold on.
They're not going out. They're having their kids who are citizens go and pick up their clothes and food for them. It's terrifying.
It is terrifying, and that is what we are hearing time and again. Charlotte, by the way, is that state's largest city. It is home to a growing, a diverse, a steady immigrant population. So that is why you are seeing what you are seeing in Charlotte. And I expect that we're going to be seeing a lot more as the situation here becomes more tense and as it grows as well, because there is no talk of pulling back on the government's response there in Charlotte. Let's now go to Arthur Chan, who's going to talk to us a little bit about the New York City Department of Transportation's Vision Zero initiative. They have a new campaign, which, Brian, do we have that ad? Can we roll that ad? Do we have that? They have a new campaign, new PSA out, which they want people to really pay close attention to. We're going to roll it, and then we're going to chat with Arthur.
One choice can change everything. Can't rewind a crash. One choice can change everything.
Pretty impactful there. Let's bring in Arthur. Arthur, we just showed that PSA, and Vision Zero has been around for some time, but if people had forgotten about it or hadn't been paying attention to it, I would imagine if you see that initiative on your screen, it's going to make you think twice.
That's the idea, Teresa, for sure. Vision Zero started in the city, was adopted in 2013. And this public awareness campaign is called One Choice Can Change Everything. You can't rewind a crash. And so you just showed what it was there, so I won't have to go into it again. But the principle of it is drivers express regret after doing something, after making a decision that ends up hurting somebody, if not killing somebody. The commissioner of the city's transportation department today specifically referred to that March crash on Eastern Parkway that hit a mom and her 3 kids, and it killed the mom and 2 of her kids who were 5 and 8 years old. So if Brian has our interview ready, we talked to a bunch of transportation experts today. Number one, to find out if Vision Zero is working, which was the claim by city officials today. And traffic deaths have gone down 25% since 2013 when it started. It's down 18% from last year. But Teresa, interestingly enough, some of the experts we talked to today point out that the amount of drivers on our roads is down by about 13%, depending on how recent the estimate we find is. And what they're saying is fewer drivers leads to fewer crashes. But while Manhattan is benefiting and the Bronx and Queens, car traffic is down, places like Brooklyn, they say the number of deaths there, traffic-related deaths caused by drivers, is still stunningly high. If we have that ready, we talked to Transportation Alternatives, really a great voice to talk to on these matters, and they emphasize while the public education the component is very important, really what they see making the biggest differences out there are changes in policy and street design. Let's roll that interview.
So the most effective tools at reducing traffic, fatalities, and serious injuries on our roads is always going to be design and policy. Designing it so that the street is impossible to have those kinds of interactions, those kind of crashes, and changing policy to encourage safe driving and end reckless and dangerous driving. With that said, this is also the most dangerous time of the year for people trying to get around New York City. When daylight savings times ends and it gets darker a lot earlier, a lot more people are driving on much darker streets, and that's really dangerous for everyone. So everything we can do during daylight savings time and during the end of daylight savings time in specific to make our streets safer is going to be better for everyone.
The DOT today made it a point to say that traffic fatalities are down this year. They want to attribute it to Vision Zero and in particular the Vision Zero efforts made under the current administration. Is that accurate?
I think there have been many really great Vision Zero changes made under the current administration and the administrations before it. When we look at street redesigns, we look at daylighting, we look at raised crosswalks, we look at better pedestrian lights, things like that, that really do make our streets intersections safer. But a really underrated component to this year's lack of fatalities, I think, is probably congestion pricing. Congestion pricing came into effect in January of this year, and because of congestion pricing, there's so many fewer cars on the streets throughout the 5 boroughs and even in the counties surrounding the 5 boroughs. And with every single car that we take off the roads, that's a car that's not going to hit someone, not going to kill someone, not going to injure anyone. So the more that we can encourage walking, biking, and public transit, and the fewer people that drive, the safer the roads are going to be for everyone.
Okay, and finally, we're going to use the part where you credit the things that they have done right. But also, this is an administration during which a couple things haven't happened, which is a more effective crackdown on hit and run drivers and letting a law pass targeting super speeders without having a law to replace that. Can you talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, I think those are both definitely an issue, and I think that there's many factors at play that can really come into focus when we look at the borough level. So fatalities are down in the Bronx, in Manhattan, and in Queens. There are fewer people driving in those areas, and there are fewer people being hit, injured, and killed. That is a massive win for everyone who lives in New York City. But when we look at other boroughs, fatalities are still shockingly high. For example, in Brooklyn, there are still a lot of people being killed on our streets, and it's not substantially safer this year. Brooklyn is also the borough where Mayor Eric Adams worked to get rid of a street safety project earlier this year. And it's projects like that that make our streets more dangerous and that he is still pushing forward under his tenure as mayor. At the same time, of course, we need that legislation to ensure that repeat reckless drivers are off the road. Those are the most dangerous drivers on our streets. And we need to do more to ensure that these crashes never happen in the first place. Of course, hit and runs are obviously bad for everyone who lives in the 5 boroughs, but most importantly is preventing that hit and run before it even happens. We don't want those crashes to happen in the first place. We don't want anyone being killed in the first place. And the only way to truly prevent those is design and infrastructure.
Yeah, Arthur, so I mean, it's really interesting what she's saying there in terms of design and infrastructure. What does that mean, though? I mean, we've heard about redesigning the roads completely around Union Square, where there's only bus lanes and things like that. Is that more what she's talking about in terms of being able to fully reduce? I mean, the idea here is to get the number of pedestrian deaths to 0.
Yeah, it's been pointed out, it's not Vision 200, it's Vision 0. And some of the redesign includes daylighting, right? If you give more space towards the corner and the driver has line of sight to the pedestrians, it makes things safer. There were a lot of calls to do that. That's gone slowly. Also, some dedicated lanes for buses. There are several things. Raising crosswalks. So, the profile of vehicles has gotten taller and taller, and you could be like 5'10", walk by without the driver being able to see you. So by elevating the crosswalk, in some cases, you can increase the profile, especially for people who are elderly or children as they cross the street. So that's what they're talking about, the redesign. But the ad itself, it's going to start running on billboards. You're going to see them on social media. You'll see it on TV. You'll see them at places like Barclays Center during some big games. Same thing at MSG. So they're hoping to get this out and get people thinking about it. Especially if you think about it right now, drivers are out there with it getting darker an hour earlier. That usually this time of year causes more deaths.
You know, what's nice to see is the synergy among different administrations. We know it started under de Blasio. It has continued under Adams. Do we know, and I don't mean to put you on the spot with this, but do we know if the mayor-elect also supports Vision 0 or if it's something that he wants to see continue?
He has said that he does support Vision 0 and that he will respect the open streets law that was passed by the city council that this administration, many transportation experts say, has not honored in terms of the number of protected bike lanes and some of the improvements that are stipulated by law to be done. Mayor Adams himself, a former police officer, not exactly considered the biggest ally when it comes to pedestrians and cyclists out there. But right now, the crucial question is who will Mamdani appoint to the commissioner position at the city's DOT. And I've heard a couple of names, and some of it's encouraging because none of them so far that I've heard are political appointments, which the current commissioner, Ydanis Rodriguez, was. And that can be a good thing, but also in terms of a technical aspect, that can be a weakness for that position. So there are a lot of experts that we talk to who are excited about maybe getting a non-political appointment. We're going to see probably in the coming weeks.
All right, Arthur, thank you so much. We know you'll have more on this on tonight's 10 o'clock news, which everybody knows they can watch on fox5ny.com as well as the Fox Local app. We appreciate it. We'll see you at 10.
You got it.
All right, thank you again. We're going to take a quick break. Stay with us. You're watching Newsroom Live. As you can see on the big clock there, 8:18 on this Monday, November the 17th. You are here in our newsroom. It's Newsroom Live. Hello, that is Brian Kay. He is our master operator. We got to think of a better name for you than operator.
Master Blaster.
Master of the board. Thank you for being with us. We do appreciate it. It's quite a busy night here, and it's just as busy in Union County, New Jersey. We're going to go live now, show you Skyfox overhead, a fire in Roselle, New Jersey. Multi-rigs there up. Actually, we see that there might not be as much smoke as we were seeing earlier, but it is, as Nick was telling us earlier, quite windy there, windy around the region as well. And so they are working hard to ensure that they can get those fires under control. By my vantage point, but I'm going to bring in Dan Rice to talk to us a little bit about what he is seeing from high above. It looks as if there's 2 structures on fire. Dan, I know it's dark out, but do I have that right? It looks like there's 2 homes on fire there?
Unfortunately, Teresa, there are 3 homes that were caught up in this fire. This all started around 5 o'clock this evening. We are looking down at East 9th Avenue in Roselle, New Jersey. You can see the firefighters lining the street there. It's a 4-alarm fire. Not only do they have the Roselle Fire Department here, but they have what they call mutual aid, which is other towns surrounding the area are here helping them as well. We've seen trucks from as far away as Hillside trying to get this fire under control. Now, no word yet on which house started or the fire started in, and at this point, no reports of any injuries or how the fire started. But look at the damage at the first house we're going to show you. You can see everything down to the rafters there in the attic area. All these homes are 2-story homes. You can still see a little bit of fire towards the back end of the first house. We come to the middle house now. You can see a lot of that siding has melted off of the top floor of that building, and a lot of damage created by the fire and all that smoke still coming off of there. And of course down here in the third house where we see the firefighters earlier, there's a little bit of fire. Actually move the camera over here, and you can still see a little bit of fire coming from the front of the house, right? And you look at the back of the house, it's a little hard to see in the dark, but there was a piece of the house that has pretty much been gutted by this fire. Now look at the way that wind is blowing there, Teresa, and you can see, as you were saying when you were talking to Nick before, that wind has been a problem all day. We haven't flown for most of the day because the wind was above our maximums that we're allowed to take off and land in. So the fire, the smoke, definitely having a problem with that wind. Firefighters in the colder temperatures trying to get a handle on it. You can see down here on the street, you have the all the firefighters down there doing their best trying to get this as under control as possible. I'm going to bring the camera out a little bit wider though. Look back here on the street behind East 9th, that's White Street, and we see more firefighters set up over here. What they've been doing is using this tower ladder to try to get water onto the back portion of the house, going over the houses on White to get to the back area of the houses on East 9th. The firefighters, they've been out there doing their searches, making sure they're getting every pocket of fire they can, but it seems like every time they seem to get a handle on the pockets of fire, you can see right there they flare up on the one house here, and we can see back over here another pocket coming to the back. So it's been about 3.5 hours now they've been fighting this, Teresa, and it looks like it's going to be a busy night for these folks as they still try to get this under control.
Yeah, they definitely are. They're working hard at that one, Dan. Do we know if the fire started on White or on East 9th? Because you can't really tell from the vantage point. I mean, they're attacking it from both sides, and there's clearly still flames on the which I believe to be the East 9th side.
That's correct. Everything seems to be contained on East 9th. There seems to be a tree line back here that separates the houses between 9th and White. So it just looks like what they did was they can't get to the back of the houses easily, so they just set up the apparatus over here on White, and you can see they're just shooting the water over the houses on White. But from what we can tell, and again, like you said, it's still a little dark out there, it does not appear the fire has reached the houses on White. It just seems to be all along East 9th here, and luckily, I mean, it's not great that 3 houses are on fire, but you can see all these houses are equally spaced apart. Yeah. This could have spread to quite a few houses here with that wind, the way it's been blowing all day.
And I would imagine that the wind had to have been a factor in seeing that this went from 1 structure to 2 to 3. That's usually what happens in these kinds of situations. Of course, they're still working on a cause and all of that, but are you hearing anything in terms of what might have sparked this?
At this point, we have not. Nobody on the ground yet has given our newsroom any information or indication where this started. It's not even clear yet which house started the fire, but again, if you look at the way the wind is blowing, it would appear from our vantage point that this probably would have been the first house to catch fire, and it just went down the line here, catching the next 2 houses on fire.
It's really sad to see this, especially when you think about the fact that we're just a few weeks from Thanksgiving, just a few weeks off from the Christmas and Hanukkah holidays as well. And so we do hope, we haven't yet heard of any injuries, but we do hope that everybody who was inside made it out. It happened, right, you said about 5 o'clock the flames broke out, or at least we got word of this?
Right, they received the calls around 5 o'clock, and like you said, at this point, no reports of any injuries, and it sounds like everybody got out. Unclear if these are single or two-family homes, but obviously a lot of families lost a lot here going into the holidays.
Yeah, you can just see those holes in those roofs there. All right, Dan Rice, we really appreciate it. Be safe, and thanks for bringing us out report tonight.
Thank you, Teresa.
All right, and we're going to take a quick break here in Newsroom Live as we reset for the bottom of the hour. Stay with us. We're coming back right after this. The nucleus of the newsroom right there. That is our assignment desk where they are working hard to ensure that everything that is needed to make the 10 o'clock newscast run, they have all the information they need. I know it looks like there's only one person there, but that's because everybody's running around and informing the rest of us of what's actually going on. As the clock says, 8:26 on this Monday, November the 17th. Thank you so much for being here on Newsroom Live. I'm Teresa Priolo, your host for this evening. All right, we have all gotten spam phone calls. We have all gotten that number that you're like, huh, who's that? No, I don't know. You click. Have you ever received a spam phone call with a family member's name and face? You answer the phone and it's not them on the other line? That's what happened to a girl in Bergen County, New Jersey. Take a listen.
What am I going to tell my mom if she dies?
It was Monday night. Stephanie, who asked that we only use her first name, had just finished a FaceTime with her mom and sister. They said goodnight and she went to bed, only to be startled by a phone call from what appeared to be her sister's cell phone.
It was not her on the other line, but a man. The man said that he had my sister, that he would blow her brains out if I did not send him X amount of money.
A hostage situation with Stephanie's sister as the victim, held in her New York City apartment. The only way out alive was cash.
He was saying that he just got out of jail, that he needed to get home. He needed money to get back home. He started asking me for Zelle payments, and that was the first payment I made.
Complicating things, a woman is in the background, screaming, pleading, and crying. Stephanie was panicking. She logged on to Find My iPhone. Her sister's phone pinged to the apartment. So she was home.
She has this way she cries. She has this hiccup in her cry. And I swear to God, that's what I heard in the cry as well. So to me, it was real.
She transferred what money she could, but it wasn't enough. The man warned, don't get the police involved or your sister's dead. Then the call disconnects.
And we tried it from another phone. We tried it from my cousin's phone, and she was not answering.
Eventually, the family contacted the sister's doorman and asked him to do a welfare check. The sister answered the door. She had been asleep the entire time. Turns out this was an AI-assisted scam with a brazen sophistication that's rarely seen. We wondered how something like this could happen. Where did they get the number, the voice, the information, the ability to have a continuous conversation without hiccups or interruptions?
They grab information off of Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook Reels, whatever the case is, anything where there's video with audio. They can grab all that likeness of that person, put it into a fraud GPT generator, and create the exact likeness.
That is some scary stuff. Let's bring in the guy that you just saw right there, Robert Siciliano. He is a cybersecurity expert. Robert, thanks for being with us tonight here on Newsroom Live. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so we were talking to you about this scam that occurred, and when I first heard about this, I thought, no way, how does this even happen? Where do they get all this information? A name, a phone number, your voice?
Yeah, this is next level. This is, it's obviously AI generated fraud. We've all heard of ChatGPT. Well, this is fraud GPT. Okay. And where did they get the information? Well, you and I, we're all providing it to the bad guy. We're providing it via our social media, our Facebook, our Instagram, our Snapchat. It's all out there. Our names, our addresses, our phone numbers, we're posting all that information. The bad guys, they grab that data, they grab our photos, they grab our video, they grab our voice, and they take all that information and they create AI generated personas of us.
That is so freaky. I mean, it seems, first of all, it seems so premeditated and so coordinated.
Well, it is. Gone are the days where the, hacker sitting in his mom's basement was, stealing credit card numbers. Now, all forms of fraud most of them are organized crime, are involved in grabbing millions and millions of bits of data on us, taking all that information, creating personas on us, and extorting us and or our family members or businesses for all kinds of money.
When you talk about a coordinated attack and when you talk about this being organized crime, when people think organized crime, they think the mafia.
Yeah, well, mafia, yeah. We're talking Russian mafia, Chinese mafia, Japanese, like all over the world. Organized web mobs that are based in certain parts of the world where their governments don't really care that their citizens are committing these crimes and, in fact, maybe even benefiting from stealing money from U.S. citizens.
So it kind of walk me through how this happens. I mean, again, I think somebody has to have a pretty sophisticated understanding of AI in order to really wrap your mind around what happened to this unfortunate family. But is this one person or a group of people kind of sitting in a hotel room someplace on the other side of the world, and they say, I'm going to pick on this woman and I'm going to, and then build their persona that way and then attack? Or does this happen seamlessly in a matter of seconds, and that's just, they're able to somehow coordinate this on the fly?
The majority of these frauds are well thought out and planned, okay? Most of the scam centers operate in Southeast Asia, and they have hundreds of thousands of people manning the phones via text, phone calls, and email, on computers all day long, strategizing, working on us. They grab our information off of our Facebook pages, off our Instagram pages. They get your name, your address, and your phone number. They get your family members via your relationships and Facebook. And then they sit down, they create that persona, and then they target you on purpose. They'll actually set a time and a day to launch that attack on you or I. And we may not see it coming, obviously. And once the attack comes in, you answer the phone, you think your loved one is in distress. What are you going to do? Your first motivation is to get them out of trouble. And if that means paying the ransom, wiring money, breaking out a credit card, whatever it takes, we're going to do it because we're emotionally charged. They know this, and they know that if they spend the time and they do the research and they get all the necessary information about us, they can convince you that your loved one is under duress.
I mean, one of the things that stood out to me in the story that we did, in this family that we met, this young girl that we met, she said that, I hesitate to call it the person on the other end because it's not a person, but to your point, it is a person, right? I mean,
It is a person. Yeah.
So the person on the other end, this guy that called her, was asking her to give him a certain amount of money, and initially tried PayPal, tried Zelle, tried all the apps that are available, and they were flagging it as fraud. And she was like, but I hear my sister in the background screaming. That's her voice. This is her picture. And so it seems like the fail-safe there was these payment apps, and they were doing what they were supposed to do, right? You often wonder if your information is safe online. We're talking about that now. But these companies would not allow the payment to go through, some of them.
Yeah, so the scam itself is extremely insidious. It's very evil, actually. The good news is the payment apps, the Zelles, the PayPals, the Venmos, they have a general clue as to what's going on. They understand that these scams are happening to millions of people all the time, but it's not fail-safe, meaning in the end, it's really up to us. It's up to you and I to recognize the risk, to know what's happening to us. And when it comes to actually wiring that money, sending that payment, you may be effective in actually doing that, which might mean you're going to lose that money. You don't have a lot of time, if at all, to claw that money back if and when you realize, or once you realize, that you've been scammed. So you can't rely on the payment applications of the banks, for that matter, to prevent this and or to get your money back. It is up to us. And so the work you're doing right now to expose these scams, that's what people need to realize and recognize, and to share this information, to tell your loved ones that when the phone rings, when you get an email, if I'm being kidnapped, here's the code word, here's the password. Ask qualifying questions. Where did we go on our honeymoon? Where did we go on vacation last year? What did we have for dinner last night? What's your favorite book? Like, find out information about that person to make sure that, yeah, it's them in trouble. But look, at the reality of you or I getting kidnapped and somebody making a phone call and holding us ransom, like, do you know that anybody that's ever happened to? Like, the likelihood of that happening is just so unbelievably slim. Right? The reality is you're probably going to get a phone call and it's going to be a scam more than anything else, and maybe even more than once in your life.
No, and she did say that to me. She said, listen, I couldn't believe that this was really happening, but... And
because you heard her sister's voice.
But I do hear what she said, which is, you know, one of the things we'll leave it on. And she just kept saying, but it does happen to someone. Someone does get kidnapped. Violent crime does happen. And she just kept saying to herself, I cannot believe it's me. How is this my family? How is this happening to me? And so again, to your point, the likelihood of it being true, slim. But it does happen, which is why there's the fear that exists. One more thing that you said to me, which I think is great, and then we'll leave it here. You said you can interrupt the flow of information by asking those questions, right? You can essentially sometimes trip up these hackers, and then what? They'll hang up?
So 100% of the time, they're expecting that you're going to fall into their trap. They're expecting that you're going to fully believe what they have to say, that you are going to be emotionally involved in this situation to the point where you are gullible and vulnerable and they got you. But when you are consciously, acutely aware that this could be a scam, and you don't react and respond emotionally, but intelligently, with using your spidey sense that there might be something going on here, then you can effectively trip them up, and they're not prepared for that.
All right, Robert, we're going to leave it there for tonight. Thank you so much. Where can people find you? You are such a wealth of knowledge, especially about all things cybersecurity related. Where can people find you if they want to?
We are at protectnowllc.com. Again, protectnowllc.com.
And your socials. What are your socials for people who want to find you on social media?
Just search Robert Siciliano and you'll find me.
All right. We appreciate it, Robert. Thank you so much. We'll come calling again soon.
Thank you.
All right. And stay with us. You are here in Newsroom Live with us. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to go live to Newark, New Jersey. I believe they call this the bird's eye view. 8:39 on this Monday, November the 17th. You are hanging with us here in the newsroom. This is Newsroom Live. You can find us on the Fox Local app, or you can find us on YouTube, whichever way you found us. We appreciate it, and we like hanging with you, so thank you so much for being with us tonight. Man, it's been a busy news day. All around, all different kinds of stories, and one of the ones that we're following most closely tonight is out of Newark, New Jersey. There was a shooting over the weekend that affected 5 people. 2 are deceased, 3 injured, but impacted an entire community. This is a surveillance video that we got our hands on earlier tonight, and this just looks like a shootout from the Wild West. We have frozen the video right before the victims were hit. As we understand it, 2 people shot, and again, 2 people deceased and 3 others shot and injured, recovering at University Hospital. We're going to go out live to Kendall Green. He joins us from Newark, and I imagine that's the memorial site, Kendall, where 1 or 2 of the victims were shot over the weekend. Tell us a little bit about where you are and what you are seeing there.
Yeah, hey, good evening, Teresa. It's been about 2 days since that shooting, and obviously still fresh here in Newark. We're here on Chancellor and Leslie Avenue where everything happened. Just before we got on, we actually saw a group of violence interrupters that came up and put these balloons up, these candles up, just basically showing the shock. And we just learned who those victims were earlier today. According to police, it's 10-year-old Jordan Garcia and 21-year-old Kaya May Scott. They were both killed on Saturday. And we've got surveillance video, as you just mentioned, of those shots ringing out on Saturday. And it looked like 2 people just walked up the block and shot at a group of people who were standing right out here outside that liquor store. If we had that surveillance video, I just want to show you and take a listen to what happened just a moment on that Saturday. Now, so a group, they were standing outside of the liquor store here on Chancellor Avenue on Leslie Street when around 7 p.m. 2 people are seen on camera walking up Chancellor Avenue, and before they started firing multiple rounds at that group. Now, those bullets, they hit 3 individuals, injuring them, including an 11-year-old boy who we've now learned is Jordan Garcia, the 10-year-old boy's older brother, and he's in stable condition as we speak. Also, a 19-year-old Massey Rogers was hit, and she's in critical condition, and a 60-year-old man, Shepard Miller, is in stable condition, and all 3 victims have been treated or are getting treated at University Medical Center here in Newark. Now, during today's press conference, Mayor Ross Baraka, he shared his visit to Chancellor Avenue School today, where those students and staff, they were all attending. He said it just wasn't easy, and as you can imagine, him along with city officials, they were outraged by that shooting. Let's take a listen to that press conference earlier.
The entire community is on alert. All of our partners, from the federal partners, the state to the city, the local partners, are involved in this. All of our community groups and churches and religious institutions, all of our neighbors and family members who we've been talking to throughout the weekend, everybody is clear on what needs to happen, that these perpetrators need to turn themselves in immediately.
The homicide victims, to hear the yelling and the wailing of those mothers in the hospital is something that I would never forget. It was a tough time. The mayor, the prosecutor, the chief and I were there consoling the family. I have promised the families that we will not rest until these suspects are brought to justice.
I mean, it's really tough to hear that, Kendall, when you think about the fact that a 10-year-old and an 11-year-old, that's what you said, yes,
brothers.
Brothers impacted by this, that poor family. And, you know, it's kind of interesting to me, and I wonder if they talked about this a little bit, is Newark is obviously in Essex County. There has been a downward trend of violence and homicides in the city. By some stats, 23% decrease in murders in 2024 compared to 2023. So it seemed like things were moving in the right direction. And then you have this incredibly violent incident that occurred 2 days ago.
Yeah, exactly. We hear those numbers all the time about downward trends in gun violence and things like that, but it's always perception versus what those numbers really show. I mean, the numbers, they go down, you see that there's, I guess, law enforcement getting a hold on gang violence or gun violence or whatever the case may be. But with these groups that experience it firsthand, like a group that's standing outside, right outside of a store, and then shots ring out, I mean, those numbers, they kind of go out the window. in a sense, because I mean it hits you in a different way in these families. So yeah, I mean definitely they're getting a handle on the gun violence, but I mean for these families, those numbers I can't imagine really mean much to them.
Absolutely, you are 100% right. I mean, a life is a life. It doesn't matter how that fits into a statistic. Ken Agreed, we know you're going to be bringing us a story at 10 o'clock on Fox 5 News at 10. We'll see you there. Thanks so much for bringing us that report. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, of course.
All right, and we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this on Newsroom Live. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to Newsroom Live, 8:47 on this Monday evening. Quite a busy night, but you know what? Every now and again, we need to just take a step back and listen or look at something that is not as serious as all the goings on. Don't you agree, Brian? Like sometimes you just have to indulge in the frivolous.
Yes.
And that happens to be the holidays. So the question that we are asking tonight, should you charge people to come to your house for Thanksgiving dinner? Now, if you eat like my relatives, the answer is absolutely. If you eat like Brian's relatives, the answer is no, because they don't eat, right?
I eat.
Yeah, you eat. We eat. No, look, I'm Italian. We eat, so that's what happens for us. But Duarte Geraldino, one of our reporters here, hit the streets to figure out, should you charge for that Thanksgiving dinner? Take a listen.
Who's picking up the bill for all that food?
They try to push it off on you if you let them.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
They try to get you to pay for everything. Oh, yo, pick some things up. No.
Calvin is used to several family members chipping in to cover the cost of the meal. But a Washington Post column is asking a bigger question. Is it okay to charge guests for Thanksgiving dinner if money is tight?
Would you ask your guests to pay?
Sometimes it's good. This is the problem. The price, everywhere you go, is expensive now.
The column points out this debate is happening everywhere, online, in families, and on local radio. You can hear it in this moment from the Manny and Lauren Morning Show.
I have an aunt who charges for Thanksgiving dinner $10 a person, and she also puts out a tip jar.
But in the Bronx, where food insecurity is the highest in the city, charging guests didn't sit well.
$10 a plate is that's actually a good deal, but that's embarrassing.
You may laugh, but the pressure is real. Wells Fargo says a classic Thanksgiving meal for 10 costs about $80 to $95. Some stores, including Walmart and Aldi, are advertising boxed meals for around $40.
A report from the state comptroller says food prices in the New York City metro area are up 25% since 2019. That's faster than the national average.
For lower-income households who spend a bigger share of their income on food, even small increases hit hard. Advocates say delays and gaps in SNAP benefits this fall added even more pressure. So charging a guest who may be struggling can be hard to swallow.
Thanks for giving.
Is that right?
Thanks for giving, man. Gotta have a heart sometime.
Others say giving money at the door is just a potluck without the cooking, and it helps control the quality of the food. But that doesn't mean everyone's going to hand over cash.
We already know that family member who's going to try to weasel their way.
In the end, every family has to decide what Thanksgiving is worth. In the Kingsbridge section of the Bronx, Duarte Geraldino, Fox 5 News.
I was kind of entertaining this idea until they talked about the tip jar, Brian. Once the tip jar came into play, forget it. I'll put a tip in the tip jar. The tip is don't invite me to dinner.
Not coming.
But I do understand taking a collection if the food is expensive or something, but not charging per head. I mean, that's a little ridiculous. All right. I'm the one that cooks anyway. No, just kidding. I definitely don't. All right. Staying on the holiday theme, we have another one to show you about, and this is from our Crystal Young. How early is too early to start decorating? Here's what people had to say.
My apartment's all set up for Christmas already, so I'm biased in my answer. I had my parents come over 2 weeks ago and help me set up.
Now that I saw it, I think we're going to get one.
Is it too early, Remy?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's too early.
So she just wants to take things slow, one holiday at a time?
One holiday at a time. And she asked me today why the holidays only come once.
I'm with you, Remy. Why do you only get Christmas once a year, or Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate, once a year? I'm totally with you on that. I am a big believer that it is one holiday at a time. Christmas season doesn't start until Santa rolls through at the end of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. That is when you can put up your inflatable Santas and your Christmas tree and all that stuff. Before that, you can't do it. And don't even think about trying to start Halloween in August. I'm looking at you, Home Goods, and all the other stores that do it. No way. No way. The Halloween candy out in the beginning of September, that is just a way to lure me in and to make me gain weight. And I don't appreciate it. So thank you very much. I'm with you, though, Remy. One at a time. There's enough time for all of them. Stay with us. We're in Newsroom Live. We're coming right back right after this. You know, we were just about to show you, there we go. We were just about to show you the cutest cheetahs. They are on the cheetah cam at the Smithsonian National Zoo, and they miraculously disappeared on us for 2 seconds, but they're back. They're back. All right, let's tell you all about these adorable cheetahs. This would be my son's absolute, if he's not in bed by now, which, by the way, Matthew, if you are awake, you should be in sleep by now. This would hands down be his favorite story because he is absolutely obsessed with cheetahs. Smithsonian National Zoo was closed last month due to the government shutdown. You probably know that, but it didn't stop this cheetah from bringing in a whole litter of cubs, what do we call them now, cubs, into the world. And here they are. This 5-year-old adult cheetah is named Ambala. She welcomed 4 little cheetah cubs over the course of 2 days. So that's kind of a long labor between October 17th and 18th. Daddy-O is named Flash. He is an 8-year-old male who has 3 surviving cubs from a previous litter. The zoo notes that the male cheetahs don't play a role in raising their young, which is not a topic that I am going to tackle tonight on Newsroom Live. They have reached a pretty big milestone, though. This, in fact, is the 20th litter born at the zoo. And they say that they are just great fun to watch. It looks like everybody's kind of asleep right now. How adorable are they? Mama Bear, you did good. Not Mama Bear, Mama Cub. What a Mama Cheetah, you did good. They are adorable. Good for them. We wish you a long and healthy life, and we can't wait to come down and see you at that zoo. It's a great one. If you haven't been with the kiddos, you definitely should do that. All right, from one animal to the next, let me take you to Central California. This is a story that is making headlines, and it is absolutely adorable. Using a Bluetooth speaker, they were able to reunite a baby otter with its mother. Take a listen.
And so we got a call into our public hotline about a sea otter pup who had been likely separated from its mom. It had been vocalizing and screaming for about half an hour. We went down to the Morro Bay Harbor and located the pup, picked it up, got it into a carrier where it was safe and contained. Made sure it wasn't overheating. They can overheat when they're taken out of the water really quickly. And then we got a 1-minute long recording of the animal vocalizing. So we can take that recording and play it on a Bluetooth speaker. We actually looked for 2 hours of playing this recording over and over. Our intern had kept hitting play every once a minute when it would run out, and just looking for interested adults that maybe were approaching the boat, looked kind of frantic, and seemed like this was their pup and they were looking for it. So after about 2 hours, we did find an individual who was repeatedly approaching the boat. You can see in the video, she comes and gets it, and she gives it a good sniff and some grooming before she starts swimming off with it away from the boat. I definitely cried a bit. Our volunteer supervisor, who's like our most experienced volunteer of the day, was like patting me on the back as I just cried. We did it. We found it. It's just a really special moment to be able to reunite this threatened species with its mother, because every individual in this population is so important to keeping it going and bringing it back from that threat status.
I can't think of a better way for us to close out Newsroom Live. How incredible is that? Good work by all of you at the Marine Center there in Central California. As she said, that situation, being separated from its mom, could be deadly for this endangered species. That pup relies on its mom for absolutely everything. And so it was crucial that they were able to bring the two back together. And really, the fact that they were able to jump in so quickly, handle this, be creative with getting the Bluetooth speaker and bringing everybody back together, really, really incredible. I mean, they say this is their first time doing this, but I don't buy it because they knew exactly what to do in an emergency, which really is incredible. But they also said it really wasn't easy. And so They used apparently something similar of a technique in 2019. It took a little longer for them to be able to reunite, and so now they did it, and it worked, and it only took 2 hours, which is really incredible. All right, how much more time do we have left, Brian?
A minute.
We have about a minute left, so let's just recap some of the day's headlines before we let you go. Hopefully you'll be tuning in to Fox 5 News at 10 on Fox 5 NY, the Fox local app. You can also watch us on YouTube as well. First and foremost, we are following that fire that is still going on in Roselle, New Jersey. That's Union County. 3 structures impacted. Firefighters still trying to get hot spots out there, so that is a problem for them. We have not heard of any injuries. We haven't heard of any families impacted, but we did see the extensive damage that was happening by way of that fire. So that is the first thing. Second thing, Kendall Green out live in Newark, following up on those 5 people that were shot over the weekend. He'll be bringing us the latest from the community there, and they are outraged. Arthur Chan is talking to us tonight.
Thanks for watching Fox 5's Newsroom Live. We're now joining Vive Now's non-stop stream of live and breaking news.
For entrepreneurs, small business owners, and just creators here trying to make it happen in New York City.
Well, first of all, I really appreciate the work that you do, and I think it speaks to the fact that too often City Hall is making it harder for entrepreneurs to start to fulfill their dreams. I spoke to a barbershop owner who told me about the fact that if he wanted to open a barbershop in this city, he had to fill out more than 20 forms, go to 7 different agencies, 12 in-person events. These are the kinds of hoops that we are forcing so many to jump through. And there is a initiative within city government called the BEST teams. These are Business Express Service teams. They serve currently only 3% of small business owners. They're supposed to provide one-to-one case management assistance to any small business owner. We're going to fund those teams with an additional $20 million so that number of those business owners served starts to skyrocket.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hi, good afternoon. Councilmember Chiose, who was a very active and vocal supporter of your mayoral campaign, he's now going to be challenging Congressman Jeffries. What do you make of him taking on such an established Democrat? And then as you grow into more and more influence in your own